Tim, welcome to People in Legal.
Great to see you, David.
Fairly fantastic to actually set this up and actually have a chat finally. I think we chatted a while ago and things, which is great, but I'd love to hear more about your journey in business and things. So we've got this great chat today about that, and we'd love to hear more. But
sounds good.
For our audience, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah.
For the folks who don't know you.
So hi, everyone. I'm Tim Follett. I'm the CEO and the founder of StructureFlow.
Yep, brilliant. And tell us about your journey. How'd you get there?
I was a lawyer.
Really?
Yeah, you're covering lawyer now.
So you're okay now?
I mean, occasionally I get a few flashbacks, but you know, it's all right. But yeah, I was corporate transactional lawyer.
Yep.
Had about nearly 10 years in practice doing like complex transaction work, highly structured transactions, and people were using structure charts in the workflow. And I was quite a keen user of those structure charts. I was seeing the value that they had to explain what was going on in the deal and to be able to explain it to clients, to colleagues, etc. So yeah, my entry point into this space was like, we were using PowerPoint to create these really complicated charts. It was very complicated, frustrating, painful. And I thought like there has to be a better way of doing that. And that's how I got into the space.
And StructureFlow. So that's amazing. So you've actually solved a problem people have got, and you've actually developed a solution. But tell us about StructureFlow. How old is it, and what you've been doing, and getting up to this point?
Yeah, goodness, it's now about 7 years old. You know, we've been in the business for some time. We've got 140 plus clients. We're a global business. Heavy focus on the US. We have nearly 100,000 projects.
Wow.
In StructureFlow now, and those projects are some of the most complex, interesting transaction structures that are going on anywhere in the world. So it's a very interesting client base, and the way that people are using our software is evolving as well, which is obviously in this age of AI that we're in.
Yep.
A very interesting development.
So really, I guess the folks that are using your product are folks in transaction M&A sort of areas, or who's
actually both? Yeah, we have on the investigations, the dispute side. There are structure is everywhere, basically, like everywhere, and everything that lawyers and tax advisors and funds are doing all revolves around structure, because the structure is the fabric of the business. It's the fabric of the transaction. So what I mean by that is like, this company owns this company, and there's a fund that's in here, and there are like core documents, and this is a party to that document, and there's money moving here and money moving there. That's structure. And so all of the documents, whether you're a transactional lawyer or a disputes lawyer, all of the documents are describing structure. Structure is the subject matter of what you're working with. And so on the investigations dispute side, you've got people who are kind of like looking backwards in time because something's gone wrong. So they're looking at the structure, they're looking at the story of like how you got to that dispute. Yeah. And then in the transaction setting, you're looking at, okay, like what's the corporate structure now? What is it going to look like if we're buying this business or we're restructuring this business? Let's structure the transaction. Let's look at the tax advantages, the logistical, the commercial advantages of different ways of getting where we want to go to. And then let's execute on that. And so, yeah, backwards, forwards, structure everywhere.
So effectively, I mean, that's creating massive value for the clients at the end, because they're actually seeing, they're seeing a picture of what's actually going on.
Yeah, they are. End clients, they don't want reams and reams of paper. They don't want briefs that are like 50 pages long. They want visual content. They want to be able to see very clearly what's happening with the structure. So that's definitely been a big tailwind for us, this whole kind of shift towards more visual content, like simplification of legal work product, legal advice, etc.
Yeah. And how's actually AI how's AI working with you and what you're doing right now?
Yeah. I mean, AI, what a fantastic time to be in legal tech.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, like super exciting. Yep. I'm not going to lie, somewhat bewildering at the same time. But like, yeah, huge opportunity if you can get on the right side of it. And I think, you know, with our technology, like fundamentally, the diagram is a means to an end. It's not the end itself. Like the end is like the understanding of the structure, the ability to create that understanding, that mastery. You know, whether you're on the advisory side or on the client side, everyone needs to understand what's going on. So how can AI help with that? And it's in our space, it's about automation of that visualization process so that, you know, myself, when I was at 𝗬𝗲𝗄𝗵𝗍 as a lawyer working on transactions, I was having to read this document, read this spreadsheet, look at this corporate register, get my head around the structure of the deal. Then I would have to like go into PowerPoint. I'd have to start diagramming it, and I'd use my own head and my personal compute to work out how am I going to do this? How am I going to fit it on a page? First of all, you know, what am I going to put in there? What are the entities? What are the contracts? What are the funding flows? You know, what's the sequence here that this deal needs to follow? Whereas now with AI, we can automate a huge amount of that. So the lawyer is freed up to be actually thinking about the strategic stuff, not about, oh my God, I've got to read this. I've got to create all these boxes and lines and all the rest of it. No, that goes.
So is it a present? So it's a presentation layer and that sort of stuff, and presentation platform for advisors, investment companies, for family offices, accountants, lawyers.
Yeah, I mean, some of our prolific users, most prolific users are actually, you know, hedge funds, private equity funds, because they've got hugely complex structures. And then you've got obviously the advisory side of the market, the law firms, the accounting firms that are advising those funds. And we have a client base where we started in legal. And that's still very much our focus, but it's been expanding out because basically anyone who's having to work with complex structure is a potential client of us.
I mean, the tax side of things must be very interesting because what you've actually got is, I mean, as a recovering accountant, you basically have a situation whereby you actually, you're looking at, this is one structure here, you want to actually move to this structure here, with very, very complex entities and ways of doing things. I mean, it must be, in the accounting realm, it must be a very much a needed tool.
Yeah, it is. Tax structuring, audits, you know, because we think that there's these kind of three buckets of kind of value. One is around kind of mapping. So in that context, take audit or take due diligence in, you know, in a legal context, you know, you've got a whole information landscape, like in a data room or like as part of kind of going in to do an audit on a business. You need to get your head around that. You need to map it. You need to understand, you know, what are all the important data points? How do they relate to each other? Then you've got a piece around kind of what we would call model. So you've got that kind of forward-looking tax structuring, you know, we're here and we need to get to here. And the rules of the game, the legal rules, the accounting rules, the regulatory rules mean that there are certain ways you can get from here to here, but there might be three different options around how you do that. So it's like, let's work that out. Let's design that. And then finally, we've got this move piece. So map, model, and then move. Move is when you take action. So off the back of the mapping and the modeling, you are then thinking about, okay, how do I actually execute off the back of this? And I think that's a very interesting area going forwards because the same automation of the visualization process with AI and agentic AI in particular, I can see a world where actually where you've structured a deal, you should be able to use AI to be actually able to implement it.
So you can actually, so that's really interesting. So what you'll do is when you map what's actually going on, you can actually then deploy AI to look at all information you've actually got to then figure out like a plan of attack.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And who walking around here I guess at this conference, who are the people that should have conversations with you?
Who are the people that
should have conversations with about what you do?
Should have conversations. People who've got pain around this at the moment, who understand that visualization is super important to the work that they do for their clients. People who are thinking more about AI now and how to deploy it usefully, because we believe that actually AI without structure is not as capable as it is with structure. So what I mean by that is, you know, having a structure to an information set which is relational, that can be visualized. It helps a human being
Massively.
navigate your way around that information set, but it also helps an AI navigate its way around that information set as well. So that's a big thing for us at the moment, is like, how can structure add value to AI?
Massively. What do you think is going to happen in the industry? What do you see? What do you forecast? What's going on? What's going to happen next 5 years?
What people ultimately want. When we talk to clients as end users of tech stacks in the professional services space, I think people want a single surface. I think people want to go into one user experience where, instead of having to move across loads of different tooling, there is a place where you go, where you can go on a journey as a user to create some form of work product. And I think what's going to happen increasingly is that there's going to be a consolidation around different sets of tooling. There's going to be more integration. We can see this with MCP and API already. People want one place where they are, but they can pull stuff from other places, but it comes to them rather than them having to go to it. So I think this idea of like a control surface, a place where you go, where you do your work, and then you're able to draw upon specialist tooling to progress your workflow. I think that's going to be the future.
So is StructureFlow, I guess, is it deterministic? Is that sort of, is it actually putting some guardrails on things and that sort of stuff, and then using AI to then figure out like the next bits? Yeah. Is it putting guardrails around everything?
It is, yeah. So there's a mixture of deterministic and probabilistic functionality, and you know, with good reason for that, and putting tools in the hands of an LLM to enable a user to be able to do what they want to be able to do.
Yep.
You know, fundamentally, we are focused on the structuring space.
Yep.
And LLMs, you know, they have great kind of frontier model LLMs. They have great kind of general knowledge, and they can do quite a bit with that general knowledge. But actually, our view is that we add value by taking that frontier model and connecting it into a contextual layer that then can enable it to do things as a partner at a major law firm or an accounting firm or a head of legal at a major fund would want to be doing those things.
Yep. Brilliant. So I guess if people want to know more, they can go to you've got a stand here.
We have a stand, yes.
Brilliant. And they can have a chat to you about actually how they can make the whole structure side of things a lot easier, visualization much easier as well.
Yeah, they can. S22, first floor, StructureFlow stand. Please come along.
Brilliant, Tim. Thank you so much.
Cheers, David.
Brilliant.
Take care.